Have you ever wondered if scholarships meant for everyone actually reach everyone? Today, I'm diving into a heated debate that's got Capitol Hill buzzing. Is the Truman Scholarship only for liberals? Missouri's own Reverend Bob Onder is demanding answers. And if you're a student thinking about your future, this is one story you can't afford to miss. So, what's the deal with the Truman Scholarship? It was created to honor President Harry S. Truman, with a mission to inspire young Americans, no matter their politics, to serve the public good. The whole idea was to build a pipeline of leaders from all walks of life, committed to making America better. But according to Reverend Onder, something's gone off course. Picture this. In a recent congressional hearing, Onder grilled education experts about whether the scholarship is still living up to its mission. He pointed to eye-opening testimony. Get this, over the past decade, students heading into left-leaning careers outnumber conservative-leaning Truman scholars by 56-1. That's not just a gap, that's a canyon. Onder hammered home the point Congress never meant for the Truman Scholarship to serve just one political side. The whole point was to support anyone, left, right, or center, if they're passionate about public service. So why the imbalance? Here's where it gets interesting. Onder suggested that colleges and universities might be part of the problem. Are they nudging only progressive students to apply while ignoring their conservative classmates? One of the expert witnesses, Mr. Hess, called for a change, asking colleges to set aside identity politics and focus on genuine passion and talent for public service, no matter the ideology. If you care about fairness in education, this is your cue. Hit that subscribe button to get more breakdowns just like this. Back to the hearing, Onder wanted to know if the Truman Scholarship Foundation should shake up its staff or its structure to fix the bias. But Ms. Kabani, another witness, wasn't convinced. She pointed out that people have raised these concerns for almost a decade. But nothing's really changed. She asked the tough question, is the leadership even willing or able to act? The debate didn't end there. Onder and Hess also raised a big picture worry. They say the scholarship is drifting from national priorities like defense and cybersecurity, focusing instead on cultural advocacy. Critics argue this isn't what Congress had in mind when the program began, so where does this leave us? According to Reverend Onder and the witnesses, the Truman Scholarship is at a crossroads. Reformers say it's time to get back to basics, serving the whole nation and preparing leaders for the real challenges America faces. But whether that happens, or whether the system needs a bigger overhaul, is the big question left hanging in the air. Thanks for watching. Stay curious, stay informed, and keep asking the tough questions.
I'd now like to recognize my friend from Missouri, Mr. Onder.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to all the witnesses for being here today. When Congress established the Truman Scholarship, it made this finding: because of the desirability of encouraging young people to recognize that political and provide service in the highest and best traditions of the American political system at all levels of government, it is especially appropriate to honor former President Harry S. Truman through the creation of a perpetual education scholarship program to develop increased opportunities for young Americans to pursue and prepare careers in public service. Congress did not say left-wing students, did not say students interested in climate change or DEI. It said to prepare and pursue careers in public service. And I think that should include all students, left, right, and center. But we've got to ask ourselves today, is the Truman Scholarship encouraging young people to participate in public service at the highest levels, or at least equally? And I think, unfortunately, the answer is no. The program only encourages some young people to serve the public. You know, Mr. Hess, as you mentioned in your testimony, over the past 10 years, Truman scholars pursuing careers in left-wing politics outnumbered those pursuing conservative politics at a 56-1 ratio. That speaks for itself. I mean, prima facie, I looked at this testimony preparing for this hearing, and I just said, okay, we just need to get rid of this damn thing. We just need to get rid of it. It's irredeemable. Whenever there's a pot of money, the left manages to get in there and take it over. And this Truman Scholarship, and I'm from Missouri. I have an affection for Harry Truman. It's just one more example of that happening. But I'm trying to be more positive today, Mr. Hess. So how can we change the culture on college campuses to help conservative students feel like applying to the Truman Scholarship is worth their time, because it seems part of the problem, at least, is that colleges are encouraging their left-wing students to apply, or even the colleges play a role in the recommendation process, and they're just recommending the left-wing students and not the conservatives.
Yeah, it's a wonderful question. You know, one of the healthy developments on college campuses I think we're seeing as we come out of many of the excesses of identity politics of the last 5 or 10 years is there's an understanding that there's a difference between identity politics and wanting to ensure that everybody feels welcome.
Amen.
Included. So that we see colleges taking more seriously, how do we reach out to folks who are not on campus? How do we recruit them, thinking about them as individuals and not as members of identity populations? Right. That's what I would encourage Truman to do. How can it reach out to campuses that are not historically sending nominees forward? How can it reach out to faculty who may have felt frustrated or tuned out in the past? How can it, as Mr. Kissel suggested, take a look at its materials to ensure that they are inviting to young, talented Americans who are passionate about public service, regardless of their ideological priors? Those seem to me the kinds of steps that move us in a healthier direction.
Very good. And Ms. Kabani, you know, how can we change? Are there changes we need to make in the application and selection process to make sure this program is free of left-wing bias? Because it certainly seems that that's the case right now. Is it just a matter of changing personnel, or there are other structural changes we need to make here?
You know, I'm like you. I want to be positive and think we can fix this, we can change it, we can reform it. But it's...
Because another option is to zero it out.
Well, that's the thing. And, you know, we've been doing this for 10 years. We've been doing this research for 10 years. And every time we give the Truman folks leading this program the information, they shrug their shoulders.
Yeah.
And now here we are 10 years later before Congress. Will they change anything? I'm actually wondering whether they will. I mean,
and as has been testified, they worked hard at making sure you didn't have the information so you could make those findings.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I want to believe in reform, but it's deeply broken, and I question whether it can be.
No, I do as well. And you know, it occurs to me, you know, Mr. Hess, the problem with the Truman Scholarship is not only that conservative students are being sidelined. I think a lot of our discussion is centered on that, but also that left-wing students are being given a leg up. You know, they're giving a leg up as the farm club for the next generation of left-wing activists or left-wing politicians. That just seems antithetical to a free democratic society.
I think it does. I also think it represents something of a distortion of the mission of the Truman Fellowship. You know, one of the points that Congress made half a century ago in establishing the program was it recognized President Truman's commitment to national well-being, to national security. Well, if you look at the winners of Truman Fellowships today, they tend to be much more focused on current cultural advocacy, and you find remarkably few who are focused on cybersecurity, on national defense.
Sure.
So what's happening is part of the reason you're seeing this bias is because we're leaning away from the exact kinds of national imperatives that this program is supposed to cultivate.
Thank you. I yield back, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.